Thanks to Reckoning, we have learned more about Richtofen's attempts to clone his family than ever. And these cloning attempts, featured first in Terminus and then Shad Vale and Reckoning, can give us insight to a lot about this game. From the mechanics of the world, how souls may work after the Tag der Toten ending, Richtofen's true character, and even the writing shift for the end of this game. All of that and more all tie back to Richtofen trying to make clones of Mary and Samuel, his wife and son. Black Ops 6 has been the journey of Richtofen attempting to restore his family to life after their murders, and the consequences this journey has wrought on the world. Pretty much anything that we see happen in the events of Black Ops 6 comes back to this, even stuff the Sam AI does, as she was created precisely to assist in his cause. However, if Richtofen ultimately succeeds just using the Sentinel artifact, what was even the point of the cloning? All of it can seem confusing, so before we get into the metatextual aspects of the story, let's get a bit of a refresher. The start of this story begins in Terminus Island, with Project Janus hiring of Dr. Modi and placing her in charge. She was selected for a very specific purpose that I'll play now.
And to conclude our island tour, we have your atrium lab. So, what do you think?
It's an ideal space. Very Spartan at the moment. I assume the regulatory parties have not made their pass yet. Once they've made their structural safety recommendations, I will, of course...
Dr. Modi, I would never waste your valuable time with such trivial matters. This is your island. I trust you to make it your own. Now, energy and weapons will pacify the backers, but I chose this with your biological experiments in mind.
That part of my portfolio is considered controversial. Many have called it torture.
We are a rare breed, my dear doctor. You and I both know the price of true progress. It is that work which brought you to me. I will not allow you to be shackled by idealistic bureaucrats. In return, I expect you to deliver, by any means necessary.
That won't be a problem.
Ah, good. Then we understand each other. Welcome to your new home.
The intel doesn't directly tell us Modi's exact goal here, but it shows that whatever it is, it's based in biological experimentation and clearly something that would normally be forbidden. One of Janus's earliest feats was the construction of Terminus Island, and it seems the entire purpose of this was to set it up for Dr. Modi. If you scour the rest of the intel in Terminus, we will continue to get vague teases of biological horrors of Modi's creations, but not any closer to her reaching her goals. However, in Guthrie's hidden room on the crashed boat, you can find some documents not contained in the intel menu, one of which is an email from Richtofen to Modi. It's dated Saturday, May 19th, 1990, 9:09 PM. Subject: Cellular Regeneration Trials. I had you to complete one mission above all. Regrowth of a complete and functioning human body from a single DNA sample. So, attentive players got the proof of what Modi was after here. Richtofen had her attempting to clone someone from a single sample of DNA. However, the following line makes it clear she is failing at this mission. From here, Richtofen would give up on Modi's cloning and pursue more magical means with the Sentinel artifact. But we wouldn't get more context on that until Shad Vale. Now, as to where Richtofen got the DNA samples of his family, unbeknownst to me, you wouldn't think of trying to retrieve samples right after your family's deaths, but it is Richtofen, the crazy, mad guy after all. While the ending of Terminus did reveal Richtofen was after the Sentinel artifact, it wasn't until a Shad Vale intel gave us Richtofen talking to not-so-fluffy Samantha's dog about something weighing heavily on him that we would get to hear more about how his plans had changed. I'll play that intel now.
Edward Richtofen, Project Janus, Cloning Clinical Study Report. Addendum, December 23rd, 1987. Not now, not so. Do not look at me with those big brown eyes. You cannot possibly know how I feel. Do you feel like a failure? No, I am the failure. When my son died, I was not there. I did not see the body. When Modi told me the new clone experiment had been successful, I was eager to see him for myself. That was foolish of me. His skin was thin, pale, sallow, but I still clung to hope. But this fragile vessel soon became a mere shadow of the boy. The soul I had hoped for, but still I needed to be with him, the way I was not there for Sammy. Over the coming weeks, every visit to the nursery brought more pain for both of us. His blood vessels began hemorrhaging. His muscles and tissue were rupturing. After 14 days, he was no longer even recognizable as human. It became clear that euthanasia would be a mercy, and I gave the order. I do not know what to do next. Perhaps Modi's biotechnology is not the right way to proceed. We are running low on DNA samples. I miss you so much, my son. Since my current projects are not bearing fruit, I may need something a little more esoteric. Perhaps it is time to talk to my own father and take his methodology more seriously.
Here, we get to hear Richthofen tell of the first seemingly successful cloning Modi had done. As soon as she informed him she was successful, he rushed to see the body. However, Modi's experiment had actually failed. The boy was unhealthy and slowly got more and more distorted and in pain. Eventually, after 2 weeks, Richthofen ordered his euthanasia. But it's clear that this single failed clone of Samuel, having to be put down, even if Richthofen no longer saw it as his son in his mind, weighed extremely heavily on him. They begin to run low on DNA samples, and Richthofen decides to instead look to his father's more esoteric and magical knowledge more seriously in a final desperate attempt. This would be the beginnings of his journey to find the Sentinel artifact. Once we enter Janus Towers in Reckoning and begin to explore the laboratories within, inside the mutant research wing, we can find, floating in a pod, these clones of Samuel and Mary, now looking disgusting like zombies, likely within the pod since before Richthofen was thrown into the dark ether 10 days prior into the liminal space. As a result, these clones have begun to seriously decompose due to the Janus Towers facility shutting down and collapsing, and probably the mainframes disconnecting from the tubes, no longer being powered. Their skin looking gross. But if Richthofen had given up on the clones, why are they still here? Why bother even keeping them? I think that line about running low on DNA samples may be the setup here. Let's jump forward to Reckoning's intel that I'll play now.
This is Max Caldwell, Maintenance Director, Project Janus. I don't know what I'm going to do with these recordings yet. I just know I have to make some kind of record. I need whoever hears this to understand what's really going on here. Director Richtofen is attempting to... I can't believe I'm going to say this. He's attempting to rebuild his deceased family. He's shipping in clones. I've seen him, watched them, struggle to exist. I've seen a few of the boy. I saw one that was supposed to be the wife, I guess, but it's like they're puppets with missing strings. Cold and pale. They struggle just to walk or even look him in the eye. I mean, at first, he acts like they're real. He cares for him, but when they don't improve, he leaves him with the doctors. Tells him to harvest organs and samples. He says everything holds up better when they're not put under. So they're awake. For the whole damn thing. I mean, they feel it all. I can't sleep without seeing him in my mind. I hear him, too. I mean, it's painful for him to try and talk. They sound like dying animals or something. I hear it every fucking night. He's got too many friends in high places. I can't end it alone. But it has to end. I mean, it has to.
Max Caldwell, a maintenance man at Project Janus, ends up seeing more than he bargained for. He sees Richthofen still cloning his wife and child, shipping in clones, even if they are failed ones. It seems he had Modi not only continued the experimentation, but continued sending the clones to Janus facilities in West Virginia for further experimentation. However, now, in an extreme shift of character, he ends up letting Janus doctors not only put them down when they fail, but specifically to harvest their organs while they are awake. What the hell? How horrifying. This seems insanely cruel and especially contrasting with the prior intel from Shad Vale, where he was so disabled over a single failed clone of Samuel and that tragedy, to then become so callous after that, completely disregarding the emotions and feelings and any empathy for these clones that he's literally created, like he did with the one before, seems out of character, honestly. I think this is partially due to a major shift in the writing of Richthofen to try and make us see him and feel him as less redeemable and generally more evil in Reckoning, so that there's more of an actual choice between choosing whether to side with he or the Sam AI in the alternative endings. I've discussed more on this in prior videos, so I won't harp on it too much here, but I think it's a genuine disservice to Eddie Richthofen, who was supposed to be the innocent Richthofen, to do this to his character for the gimmick of a choice ending. While he definitely has done a ton of evil actions before, he was always presented as tactfully and in a morally grey area, doing whatever it took to save his family and going too far. For example, with interrogating Samantha Maxis in Block 8 to unlock her powers in Black Ops Cold War. Whilst this was a horrible thing for him to do to her, it ultimately led to his goal of trapping the Forsaken and creating the Sam AI, all moving the goal forward to bringing his family back. Whilst he did something horrible, it made sense, whereas this is cruelty for the sake of being cruel, and it even makes less sense when he's being cruel to clones of his family that he should be having more empathy towards than the regular person. These are people that he's literally willed into existence that only have consciousness because of him, and they basically exist entirely in pain. And he showed empathy before. I can understand him slipping and losing his mind more and more in the 5-year gap between Cold War and Black Ops 6. I can understand how the more and more time went on, the more he was running out of their DNA samples, the more clones that fails, the angrier and angrier and more callous he got towards these clones and started to lose any empathy for them. However, this makes the ending of A Reckoning, where he does get his family back, which I think is the most likely choice for being the canon ending, if both are not canon and the multiverse is not returning, like I've been speculating before. If this is the canon ending, well, it makes that ending not feel deserved at all. Yes, Richthofen has done horrible things along the story. He's literally been human trafficking, smuggling drugs, all of the horrors that Project Janus has been up to. However, like I said, there was always a purpose for this. So far in the story, I haven't seen any prior examples of him being cruel just for the sake of it. Whereas here, they're just making him cruel. There's so much less nuance than who the character actually used to be. Ironically, his character has been assassinated, just like his family were. And that also means that, yes, he gets his family back, but at what price? If his wife found out why she's even alive in the first place and what Richthofen has done to basically other versions of her along the way to lead to her being restored to life, she wouldn't want to be with him anymore. She would hate the man he's become, especially because the reason why she was giving the whistleblower intel on Kruger was because he was actually up to the same things with dealing weapon arms, drugs, and human trafficking, and now Richthofen's been doing the same things. Honestly, if Samuel and Mary knew why they are alive today and knew what the price was to be alive, I don't think they would want to be alive anymore. Certainly not want to be anywhere near Edward Richthofen. This makes Richthofen seem so much crueler than he's ever been presented previously in the story. This is just pure evil. And if his attachment to empathy has become so disconnected over the course of the years that he's completely unempathetic to failed clones of his wife and son, then how is he going to treat his restored wife and son with respect? He's going to have so much trauma, and now he's become such an evil man. He's essentially broke bad. He's literally like Walter White now.
I thought I made myself very clear.
You got dipping sticks.
He's far too gone, way past any sense of reality, that I can't imagine him treating his wife and son well in continuing their relationship. I think he's going to be abusive to them. I think he's going to be horrible because he's still going to have all of that baggage and trauma of the past years since their deaths. He is a completely changed person to when they last encountered him, even if he is able to cover up everything towards what he's been doing in the meantime so that they don't find out. His personality is eventually going to slip out. He's not going to be able to just keep that within. And honestly, I feel like with Reckoning's ending, Trek do not want us to think more about this. I do think Richthofen is deserving of having his family back, or at least I did before Reckoning. Yes, he had done horrible stuff, but like I said, up until this point, the cloning situation has just completely broken that bridge. The idea that this was too far was always kept in an area of debatability. It was always nuanced, and you could have different arguments with different people in the community about different perspectives, and his character was shown to be someone suffering at the very same time, and in great pain, so we could at least empathize with him somewhat, even if he was doing evil things along the way. He was a man driven, obsessed by the deaths of his family, to the point where he threw morals out of the window in order to try and get there. And I've uploaded other videos talking about my issues with it, so let's keep the discussion about in-universe reasons for this. I think in terms of the lore, in-game reason of why this happens, it's a follow-up to that line in the prior intel about the lack of DNA samples, combining that with the harvesting of organs and samples here, and allowing the clones to suffer because the samples hold up better. This all suggests to me that he is desperately cloning them over and over and over again to keep fresh DNA. But surely, the more and more DNA that's just being extracted from new clones, it gets destroyed more and more and altered from the original Samuel and Richthofen. Because the clone DNA normally degrades so quickly, it's likely that he mostly, if not entirely, is out of DNA samples left over from the original bodies, and so instead is forced to keep churning out these failed clones to harvest their DNA, spending what little time he can with each set of them before he is forced to harvest them before they decompose. But why does he still need a DNA if he now plans to use the Sentinel artifact? I believe it may actually require it. We see in the Sentinel artifact attunement machine, there is a glowing vial placed at the base if the artifact is attuned to it. The vials are the same vials we see on the grey Samantha Maxis skin we get for the DLC, and is not the Ethereum vials from the Modern Warfare Zombies intro as we were previously expecting. Rather, there are two slightly different coloured vials. The one in the machine by default when we arrive is the one for the Sam AI, a purple vial. Her vial is already in the machine because she arrived here with the artifact before us and had time to begin to set up for her plan, with us only narrowly escaping her in time. However, if we choose Richthofen before entering the boss fight, we instead remove the purple vial and replace it with a blue one. So yeah, that's the choice between Richthofen and Sam that ultimately changes the ending. Whether you put in a purple vial for Sam or a blue vial for Richthofen makes sense with his colour of eyes when he was in control of the zombies being blue, and purple makes sense with the Sam choice considering that her eyes are also purple due to her dark ether powers, just as we see in the Reckoning ending. But what exactly is this vial? Let's go back to the Reckoning Easter egg. A step available at any time after opening Pack-a-Punch, but one that can be saved until last, is to acquire a keycard from a zombie in the Mutant Research Lab. With this keycard, open a locker nearby to the clones of Richtofen's family. Within, you will find a tube containing what he says is the DNA of his family. So that means two things. One, these tubes are DNA samples that the artifact is attuned to. So the Sam AI likely got the sample she was using from Janice's archives of Samantha Maxis' eggs and DNA samples, as mentioned in the Mum Genes intel, as well as probably the sperm of Ravenov, which is just an absolute wild story. I'll play that intel for you now.
What the hell? Carver M, Weaver G, Grey E, Maxis. Oh, Sam. You motherfucker! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Whoa. What are you doing? They took them! They harvested them! To what? Our DNA! Richthofen took our fucking DNA! It's all here! Me, Weaver, Carver, they have Max's eggs, Maya! Her fucking eggs! But how the hell they even have those? After she returned from the Dark Ether the first time, Richthofen, he ran tests on her. Maya, he tortured her. It was horrific.
Weaver told me about it while we were locked up on Terminus Island. Even if I'd known earlier, it's not like I had the power to change anything back then. Oh, fuck, I was so useless! That has to be when they took them. She never told me. Why didn't she tell me? Maybe she didn't know. Oh, God, I can't. Grab what you need and trash the rest. What now? Now, I am gonna make myself useful.
So each tube was a vial of DNA to attune the artifact to, in order to make it create a body based on that DNA. But secondly, the proximity of this DNA to the tube containing the clones of his family affirms our earlier observation. He has been continuing the production of clones to maintain DNA of his family, specifically because the artifact will still require a DNA sample to function the way he wants it to. But if he could theoretically continue to create clones infinitely as long as he harvested DNA, and seemingly got to the point the suffering it caused them no longer bothered him, why not just continue to perfect cloning technology and eventually get there? Why even bother with the worldwide hunt for the Sentinel artifact at all? I think a line back in Shad Vale alluded to it.
This fragile vessel soon became a mere shadow of the boy. The soul I had hoped for.
The clones cannot and will never work correctly, no matter how many advancements they make, technology or magical wise, whatever. Why? Because they are soulless. Even if he perfectly recreates their bodies, it would not be them. We've talked before about how cloning someone perfectly, down to the very atom, still isn't enough. You'd only get their shell unless you could restore the memories and experiences that are the soul. You can watch that video linked on screen now for a more deeper discussion, including the topic of Ava Jansen as well, that I made, talking about how I thought that the original characters would return before, of course, we now know they have. Looking at Richtofen's current actions through that lens makes the picture clear. All the desperate cloning, the organ harvesting, the cruelty, it's not just for the sake of perfecting a body. The Sentinel artifact still needs DNA to build a vessel, but a vessel alone can't bring someone back. That's why the clones will never be right, no matter how advanced the process gets. They have no soul. That's where the Sentinel artifact's power and its hunger for echoes comes in. Just like Archibald's echo in the tomb was pulled forward from history, the artifact could do the same for Richtofen's family, drawing their essence, their memories into the bodies it builds. The DNA gives them form, but the memories give them life. Without body, they are just empty copies. So he needs to preserve their DNA with the cloning, but then acquire the artifact to restore their souls as well. This connection between the Sentinel artifact and the souls of people long gone will also likely come into play with Black Ops 7 and the return of the original characters, but only time will tell. I think that basically is going to be the process. Somehow their life essence still exists. So in summary, when we activate the Sentinel artifact and Richtofen gets his family restored, you see that there's a blue orb that comes out of the solar system, the universe, in the sky, and then it goes and forms their bodies. I think essentially the DNA is what allows their bodies to be created, but the Sentinel artifacts is what retrieves their soul to go into the bodies themselves, meaning they would be completely soulless otherwise. And the fact it opens up a universe suggests to me that their souls are pulled from alternative dimensions of them, if it is basically pulling from the infinite potential of the old prior multiverse that got plunged into the dark ether in a similar way to the Agathan device at the ending of Tag der Toten collapses that multiverse. It's kind of reopening it to pull their souls from. And this is further seen with the Sam choice, because it seems that most likely the DNA recreates her body, but her soul is then pulled out of that universe. So essentially then the Sam AI can put her own soul, her own essence into the body merged with the real Samantha Maxis's, which makes you wonder who exactly makes Samantha Maxis her. We've seen so far the Sam AI has been distinct from the original Samantha Maxis. She has her own unique memories, her own personality. Yes, there's many similarities, many similar memories as well, many shared memories, but they are distinct characters. However, I wonder if the real Samantha Maxis's soul has been used for her to get a body. Will she essentially now become just like the real Samantha Maxis? I don't know. We will have to wait and see. That's a nuanced discussion. discussion, and personally, this ending is left so ambiguous that there's not really too much to take out of this. So for now, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. Is this character shift for Richtofen too much to you? Do you think he's become too callous now? Do you think I'm right in surmising the Sentinel artifact was a necessity because they would also need souls, even if they were perfect clones? Start a discussion in the comments and I'll do my best to read as many as I can. I've already posted a whole video explaining the plot twist about Richtofen's family's deaths and their assassination as well, which will be linked on screen and in the description. That's also a bit of a jarring watch because, as it turns out, it was all a misunderstanding all along, which makes Richtofen even seem more cruel for what he did to Samantha Maxis and what he's done with Weaver and the rest of them, locking them up on Terminus when, as it turns out, it was all at the fault of Kruger, which is why I think that plot twist is so bad that I explore more in that video. But anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.
Okay, Call of Duty, World at War, zombie mode. Now that's the bomb, man. Think on it, bro. They're not just zombies. They're Nazi zombies.
Nazi zombies.
Yeah, man. SS Waffentroopers, too, which are like the baddest ass Nazis of the whole Nazi family.
Zombies are dead, man. What difference does it make what their job was when they was living?
Dude.
To conclude this video, I want to shout out the fact that I finally decided to make a Patreon and Cameo account, both of which will be linked below if you want to help support the channel. On Patreon, you can sign up for the lowest tier of just $1.50 a month to get exclusive access for my Discord, where we can discuss zombies lore, trivia, or whatever you desire. A place where you lot, my community, can better connect. Your names will also appear at the end of videos thanking you. For $5.50 a month, you get all of that, and I will be doing exclusive monthly Q&As. And for $16.50 a month, you again get all of that, and I will be doing exclusive lore videos, such as unpacking niche parts of the Treyarch documents I've been breaking down on my channel that don't as much suit a main channel video. For the highest tier, only for those with the ability to and who really want to help out the channel, you get special bonuses I've yet to determine and verbal shoutouts at the end of every video. Over on Cameo, I can do funny videos reading lines from zombies, memes like how do we tell him, birthday wishes for friends or family, or whatever else you desire, practically anything. Of course, none of this is necessary, just watching and enjoying the videos helps me immensely and I greatly appreciate it. However, I think it's about time I start setting up additional revenue streams because Zombies' popularity is tumultuous and always goes through ups and downs. As I'm sure you've lately seen on the channel, viewership is down a lot, we go through big highs when new games release, but then during these drought periods, I need more income stability so I don't have to worry as much about it and I can focus more on improving the quality of the content. My highest quality videos are not always the ones that best please YouTube algorithms, so instead, this way I can produce my best work knowing I don't have to think as much about how well the content's going to perform. So if you'd like to support me on Patreon for exclusive content or would like a simple Cameo message, you can do so to further support me via the links below, but only if you can afford it and you actually want to help me. Don't feel like you are forced to, don't worry, I'll survive. It would just help relieve some of the pressure during inconsistent periods on the channel, so I don't have to solely rely on AdSense revenue and still maintain the sheer quantity and quality of content that I put out. Obviously, I pump out literally a boatload of content, and some of these are absolutely crazy projects over hour-long videos, so it's a lot on my plate, especially when these videos don't perform particularly well. And I've not been doing many sponsorships lately to help supplement revenue either, so it would greatly help. Thank you for any generous person once again who does kindly support the channel. It means the absolute world and will really help keep this boat afloat.